Hello, I'm Dr. Cruz, author of Balancing Act, a mind-body-spirit approach to optimal health. Balancing Act grew out of my work with patients in the early 80s, where I started to look for ways to help them to reduce stress and reduce the use of medications to enhance their health. When I came out of residency in the early 80s, I was an American-trained, board-certified in family practice, and I was looking forward to curing about 90% of what came into the office. And I was able to cure people with sore throats, pneumonias, bladder infections, common infections, but I found over time that the majority of problems didn't seem to have a cure. The best I could do was help them manage it, and unfortunately, often with harmful medications. If I gave somebody ibuprofen, I had to be concerned about if it's going to hurt their stomach or their kidneys. Over time, it became clearer to me the whole idea about, hey, stress and illness, that somehow stress seemed to contribute to a lot of these chronic problems. And I mean problems that most people will tell you, seem to be made worse by stress. Things such as insomnia, headaches, back pain, irritable bowel syndrome. Most people would admit, yeah, when I'm under stress, it all gets worse, not to mention high blood pressure and diabetes. So that led me to start looking for ways to help patients, and then I started learning about this whole area of mind-body medicine, and that got me into thinking more about how patients, if you could teach them to meditate or handle their stress better, and there was enough research supporting that. A lot of stuff going on at Harvard with stress management, the work of Herbert Benson. So after that, I was using and helping a lot of patients. I remember patients would come up, oh, I'm so grateful. First time I'm sleeping without sleep medication in years, just by helping them manage their stress. But then over time, I found that if I help them change their nutrition, or if I brought in certain supplements, I could help them even more. So now I'm doing mind-body medicine plus nutritional medicine, and then later I started to learn more about hormone imbalance and how they can throw everything off, and how stress especially, and our poor diets can be another stressor that causes more imbalance in our hormones, besides what has to be the inevitable imbalance just due to aging. But let's go back a little bit to be reminded about stress. And what is stress? Well, when we talk about stress, I think really what we're talking about is we're experiencing this protective built-in general alarm system, usually set off by threat or overload. And you've often heard the term fight or flight. In other words, imagine this. You know, you're a caveman and you're walking through the forest at night. You have no business being out there, but you're out there anyways. And as you're walking, you hear a like a branch break or something. And immediately, without you even thinking about it, you crouch down, your pupils dilate, your heart starts pumping faster, you start breathing faster. Your body's getting ready for what we know as the fight or flight response, the stress response. In other words, your body's getting ready to fight off an attacker or run like heck. But that reminds us what Herbert Benson taught me, that stress is also, in a word, he was asked this in an interview, and Herbert Benson, who did a lot of work on helping us understand stress, especially the relaxation response. In a word, stress is perception. And think about that caveman again. For example, if that caveman were deaf, same man walking through the forest, but he doesn't hear the branch break, well, his fight or flight system is not going to be turned on until he feels the animal on top of him. So there has to be a perception, okay? There has to be a recognizing that something has changed, and then the fight or flight system will get turned on. Part of the problem, of course, is that fight or flight system that's supposed to be turned on to save your life will often get turned on if your supervisor calls you in. If you get a letter from the IRS, if a police car just happens to be behind you, just minding their own business, but they happen to be behind you. So you're going to want to understand how unknowingly this fight or flight response gets triggered too often. The life formula is very useful. Among other things, it reaffirms for you that there is a mind and body connection. Because you'll see that perceptions that you make with your mind are going to impact your body. Okay? But there's key points about it. And now you're going to hear it again and again. It's the idea that the event does not create the response. It's the assessment that creates the response. The perception you make of that event is what creates the response. I'll give you a couple of simple examples that hopefully will drive it to you. I remember driving to do a class, and I didn't give myself enough time, and I'm stuck in traffic, and my mind wants to say, oh my God, you're going to be late. You know, they're going to be upset with you. They're not going to want to pay attention to you. And all that was false. I mean, I got there on time, though a little tighter than I wanted it to be. So that's one of the reasons you're going to want to learn to not make assessments. Okay? One of the things you'll learn to do is, if you can't be positive, at least go neutral. Oh, I don't know what's going to happen. I'll just see when I get there. Because most of the time, especially the negative assessments you make, are incorrect. Really, most of the time, things turn out better than you expected. And the problem is that wrong assessments waste energy. And if you start paying attention to your assessments, you'll be surprised how many times they're wrong. But every time you make an assessment, you're going to get a response. These things correlate with my personal energy. In other words, stress and illness correlate with low personal energy, and calmness, balance, and health correlate with higher personal energy. So then the whole idea was, when I'm working with patients now, we work on let's get your energy to an optimal level. Okay? According to you, your own personal energy. Like right now when I'm sitting here, it's about 1:30 in the afternoon. My personal energy is about a 7 or 8. Okay? I'm going to go for a little bike ride. When I'm done, I know it'll be about 8 or 9.
Out of 10, you're measuring.
10, right, out of 10. 10 good. And so and that's why I work with patients. So let's work to get a optimal energy level, and then take a mind, body, spirit approach. Mind is about how your perceptions create your reality. There's 3 chapters on that in the book. Body is about eat, walk, sleep, means nutrition, exercise, and sleep. And spirit is about understanding. Spirituality is really a lot about purpose and meaning and how you see, what's your worldview? What do you think you're here for? Well, all of that, we know spirituality impacts health. If it impacts health, I say to you, it impacts your personal energy. So one way to make use of it is, again, use your personal energy as a measure of how you're doing, and then during the day, check in with yourself. If you just been at a meeting or talking to somebody that drained your energy, well, then go do something that's going to bring your energy up a little bit. Call a fun friend, go for a walk, meditate for a few minutes, run in place, things like that bring your energy back up. Like I'm going to do now. This is my break time, so I'm going to go for like a 10 or 15 minute bike ride. When I come back, I know my energy will be better than when I left. So, I gotta go. This is how I recharge. One of my favorite ways, especially on a great day like today.
All right, my friend, enjoy.
Leah. A patient working on restoring health. Now go on, get out of here.